Final question of the evening, and the question will go to Ryan first, and the question is, when President Burnings leaves, most of the upper administration will leave too. How are your past ties going to be remaining relevant?
What was the last one?
How are your past ties going to remain relevant?
I guess I've spent, like I've been saying, the last 3 years meeting with administrators all across the university. You know, I've served on the executive board of the undergraduate student government. I've run a lobbying program. I've been in the very inside decisions on the U of M's lobbying platform. You know, I've met with administrators all across this university at every level, and I've been doing it for years. I have more relationships than just President Brunix and CFO Fitzenreiter. You know, all the way down to you know, the director of rec sports or you know, the dean of CLA. These are all relationships that I've built over the last 3 years. Unless they're all leaving, which I certainly hope, and I think we have bigger problems then. But you know, I will definitely have administrators and solid relationships with remaining leaders in this university.
Thank you.
After they leave.
Governor Moore?
I think I'm going to do the exact same. Well, actually, you know, I'll answer the question rather than rebut.
Okay, fair enough. I'll ask the question again. When President Burnings leaves, most of the upper administration will leave too. How are your past ties going to remain relevant?
Well, the first thing I think that's important is when we have a changeover in leadership, I'm going to do exactly what I did with the new dean of the graduate school. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be, if I have to, I'm going to be sitting in front of the door waiting. And we're going to meet. We're going to discuss, you know, what my vision and the vision of the students of the University of Minnesota, the graduate professional students. It's being there, being present, and knocking on the door. You know, I have a very hard time imagining a world in which a persistent student isn't going to be able to get answered. I think that's part of it. I also think that there will be a turnover. I don't think it's going to be the entire administration. I think it will be significant. I think the dean of the medical school and the head of the AHE is just the beginning. And I think we need to be prepared for that. And I think strong student leadership, clearly connected to the students, is a major part of being relevant to the new president, the new provost, if we have one, a new CFO, if we have one. And I think that having those connections and speaking for the students in a strong voice will be how I'll be able to merge into those offices, if you will.
Excellent, thank you. Ryan, rebuttal?
Well, yeah, I guess now that I think about it, they won't be leaving unless either of us are going to continue on past our second year in our public policy program. They're not going to be leaving until the summer after we're done serving. So I guess for me, now that I think about it, it would be more about developing the other leadership in GAPSA so that they have the ability to step in after I leave, where they can step in and they have the ties, they have the relationships. Because you know, when President Brunix leaving, I'm going to be gone too. I'm not going to be here to maintain those relationships that I have, although certainly I'd be willing to come back. But it's more about developing the other leadership within the organization, because those are the ones that are really going to be sitting down and meeting with all of those existing, you know, the ones that stay and also the new ones that come in. So.
Okay. Devin, rebuttal.
I think Ryan's talking about exactly what I've been talking about this whole campaign, which is building up the constituent council. So that's where the new leadership is. That's, you know, I've climbed that chain. I've served at every level. I've been in PASA, in COGS, PASA being my college, COGS being the graduate school, and then here. So building that ladder, making sure there's a strong farm team to come in and replace us. I think that's important. Student organizations struggle with that all the time. How are you not reinventing the wheel? And I think you have to constantly be thinking about that.
Thank you. That concludes the question and debate section of the debate. We will now move to the conclusion and closing. So we'll have closing statements. Following the same format, looks like Devin, you're up first, and then Ryan, you will conclude. You have 2 minutes for your closing statements.
We don't get to rebut these, right?
No. Rebuttals.
This has been a great debate. I'm so glad you all took the time out of your very busy schedules to come and listen. I think this crowd really elates me to know that people are interested and excited about student governance of all things, and at a university this size. I think that's fantastic, and I'm proud that I can be a part of that. I've been doing this a long time. I served for 4 years in my undergraduate program in student governance. I managed the largest budget at my undergraduate school. I came here. It's a new experience for me, but I'm a part of this community. I'm a homeowner. I'm involved in my state Senate district DFL. I'm involved in this community, and just because I'm new doesn't mean that I'm not here for the duration. I'm actually looking forward to a long and hopefully prosperous career here in Minnesota. And that said, I appreciate Ryan's service. I think it's been fantastic that he's taken the time during his undergraduate years here to serve the University of Minnesota. But I do want to say I'm the only candidate in this race that has been elected by graduate and professional students. And I've done it 3 times. Once in PASA and twice in Cox. And I don't think that my having knock-on here as an undergraduate is a bad thing. I think that there are many graduate students who didn't go here as undergrads. I think that I share their perspective. I've lived in every time zone. What I'm saying is I have an experience across this country. I don't think it's a bad thing. And I'm excited about this part of my career. I'm excited to serve, and I'm looking forward to your support.
Thank you. And Ryan.
Well, I guess since I don't get the rebuttal, I will make the slight correction that I have been elected by graduate students to the Student Senate that represents all undergraduates and graduates within this entire University of Minnesota system. That being said, I think that what we really need to work on for GAPSA as an organization is to stabilize ourselves, really make sure that our councils are grounded, that we're grounded as an organization, and then look to where we can expand. Now, I say that because these are all things that I've done before. I've expanded organizations before. I'm currently the chair of a board of directors of a nonprofit that has a budget twice the size of GAPSA's, well, assuming our budget stays the same size, and representing 4 times as many students. I've run organizations bigger than GAPSA, and I have been serving during my graduate years as well. I've been serving on GAPSA's Public Affairs Committee all year. As a public affairs student, I feel like it's very important to serve and use my expertise to help out the organization, and that's what I've done. I've found where I've been needed, and I've filled the gaps. I've done my service, and honestly, I think that right now, GAPSA needs a leader that has been at this university, that knows the ins and outs, has relationships not only at this university, but in these communities and at the state legislature. And in order to move forward, in order to stabilize, we really need someone that has the experience and has been around and knows this university and knows these students. And I think that's important.
Thanks to both candidates. Let's give them a round of applause.